But I think what I learned, and the message he was always explaining to us was, he said, you got to evolve. You got to make sure that the business stays relevant. And he said, keep your eye on technology. He says, because technology is what drives this business.
Don't forget to smash that share button, subscribe to my page, follow me on Instagram at Lance Bachmann, and keep sending me those questions. Hey everybody, welcome to the den. I am fired up to have Joe Hand from Joe Hand Boxing Promotions, the biggest boxing promoter in Philadelphia, and has the rights to MMA and all martial arts sports for bars and restaurants across the country. Joe Hand, welcome to the show.
Lance, thanks. First of all, thanks for having me here today. Great to be in. I love the studio. It looks
Thanks.
Great. Yes, we are. We're the number one closed circuit TV distributor in the country right now. Basically, what we do is we take all the combat sports, that MMA, boxing, and things like that, and distribute it to all the bars and restaurants all around the country. And I'm proud to say we're going to celebrate our 50th anniversary next year.
Congratulations. You love boxing, you love MMA, you grew up in it, your father started Hand Promotions, your dad still works there today, you told me, right? 83 years of age?
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit why you love it so much as you grew up in it?
Well, first of all, I think one of the things that I was lucky enough to have happen was my dad started the business, and the business basically was running out of our house. So when I was like in grade school and high school, I didn't have an interest in the business at that time because I was doing all the crazy things that teenagers do. But I saw, my dad working, and my aunt, his sister was in there. My mom was working too, and I saw what they were doing, and you could just kind of know that it was being successful. And my dad at that time was managing Joe Frazier when he was heavyweight champion, and he was starting this Joe Hand Promotions company, and so you knew something good was happening. I got it out of school in 1980, and I said to my dad, I'm going to get married, and he's like, okay. He said, how are you going to pay your bills? And I'm like, I don't know. He said, why don't you come work for me? And I said, okay, but I only want to work one fight. After the fight was over, my dad ends up saying to me, all right, here you go. And he slips me like a check. And it's like, if you saw the movie Aaron Brockovich, it's like, okay. And I'm like, looking at him like, what's this for? And he goes, well, I told you would be my partner on the fight. And I said, okay. He said, make sure you spend it wisely. And he said, they're going to do a rematch. Do you want to do a rematch? I go, okay, I'll do one more fight. And that was 40-some years ago, and I'm still here with him now.
So I've gotten to know you over the years. You're on the board of Glen Mills. You're a good man. You've done a lot of good for the community. How do you keep pivoting and reinventing yourself, or just keep growing your business? Because you went from just promoting boxers, managing boxers, training them, to pretty much you're the only player in town for closed circuit TV to watch martial arts sports on bars and restaurants.
I mean, I didn't realize how much my dad was teaching me in the business when I was doing it. But I think what I learned, and the message he was always explaining to us was, he said, you got to evolve. You got to make sure that the business stays relevant. And he said, keep your eye on technology. He says, because technology is what drives this business. And honestly, after 50 years, you certainly have a lot of stories to tell, right? And you've got a lot of history for the company. If we put our business on a timeline and looked at the changes that happened in our company, they're all technology driven. The very first fights that I used to do with my dad, we used to set up a screen in the Spectrum in South Philly, one at the south end, one at the north end, and put projectors in the middle of the floor and shine the fight up on the screen and charge people $20 to come in to the Spectrum and watch it. My dad invented that business, more or less. He was like the guy that invented pay TV. That was really the first form of pay TV. Then all of a sudden, the cable companies came into the business, and they be able to let you watch it at home on pay TV. So my dad said, look, this was a nice little run we had. It's all going to stop now because people are going to watch the fights at home. And then sports bars started calling us, and they were like, can you get the signal into my sports bar? And we're like, yeah, because I can get it in through cable, or they had these USB-A dishes, and you could put them on the windowsill of your apartment building or on the roof of your bar. And then that's how we got the signal in. I think now the new technology is streaming. Streaming is the way that people are going to be able to start seeing more and more programming.
The country's in a pandemic.
Yep.
Has your business been hit at all? It has to be hit by this.
Tremendously.
Tremendously.
Yeah.
But you seem like you're not sweating. You seem happy. You seem like you're in great shape. You seem like you're ready to push forward. I love the attitude.
Yeah. I have to be honest with you. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but let's put it this way. This is what we were staring at the beginning of March. no sports, and no sports bars. That meant no Johan promotions, I thought. But what I learned is that I got a great staff of people. And what happened was that staff all got together and said, hey, listen, this is what we can do. This is what we can do to make our company better. We were able to, during this period, just kind of shut down our primary business, be able to survive. We've kept everybody on. We did not lay one person off. Everybody's still working for us. And I'm really proud to say that. And they've all been really, really working hard. And now we're going to open up back on June the 5th. And the next night, June the 6th, is UFC 250. We're back in business.
You know, it's amazing. So let's talk about that. You know, you went through this. You weren't sure where your business is going to be. You're a steady hand. I like that. You're back in business where? Because here in where we live, we're shut down. But yeah, I'm assuming you're selling it to bars in Arizona, Georgia, Florida, places like that. Am I accurate? Like,
yeah. So we're a nationwide company. We sell the entire country, and streaming is going to make me global. That's what will make me global. I'll start being able to sell in Australia, the UK, all over the world. But right now we're in the US, and basically one of my staff members found this, restaurantbusinessonline.com. If you go to that website, you click in there, they have a map of the United States. It's up to date to the minute. If I click on the state of Texas, it says in the state of Texas that they're open and they're allowed to have 50% of their capacity of people in there. So if any bar in Texas wants to buy the fight from us, I know what they normally pay because they've been a paying customer. I'll pay them, they only have to pay 50% of what they normally would pay because they're only able to get up 50%. But right now, pretty much by next Saturday, June the 6th, pretty much everybody's going to be open in some capacity in some way. And we just want to interact and keep our customers going. We're reducing our prices because those customers are going to be there. They're long-term for us. We're going to keep them. They need help now, and that's what we're going to do.
Let's pivot here for a second. You've never worked for anyone your whole entire life, except for you and your father have been partners. So you could say you worked for your father when you were first starting out, but you pretty much worked for yourself. What would you say to a young entrepreneur that's watching this and saying, I know who Joe Hand is. I know that's the biggest boxing promotion company easily in Philadelphia, if not in the country. You corner the market with streaming fights to bars and restaurants. What would you say to that young entrepreneur? Has it been an easy road?
I think it's been made easy by the people that I've been surrounded by. And what I realize is that, you know, having my dad there to go in and bounce ideas off of and things like that have helped me to not make probably as many mistakes as people would normally make. And if I would have made a 1,000 mistakes, I probably made 500 instead of 1,000 because my dad was able to guide me and I listened to his advice. So he's my dad first, but he's a mentor. So having a mentor in your business career, if you can find one, is really important. And I found one. He found me, and I was really lucky.
He had you, brother.
That's right. That's right. Yep.
Here's a question for you. What are you doing marketing-wise to stay in front of your customers right now? Because it can't be business as usual. You've had to pivot somewhat.
So what we did was we used our Bar Finder link to promote the bars that were using curbside service and takeout service and promoting the UFC fight. So in other words, hey, come by on the night of UFC 248 and pick up a basket of wings at Buffalo Wild Wings. Take them home so you can watch the UFC 248 at home. The UFC, massive, the power they have as far as, putting a message out. They got behind us also and started promoting the bars that were doing like takeout. Now, that didn't promote any or generate any money for Joe Hand Promotions. That's okay. But that's my customer. I got to do whatever I can to try to make sure that guy stays alive. If he stays alive, then we're doing business together somewhere down the road.
100%.
Yep. So that's what we tried to do.
What would you tell a younger Joe Hand? What's your biggest mistake? What would you go back and change if you could?
I think I just could have shown more patience. I wish I would have maybe paid more attention in those early years and understand the opportunity that I was given. My dad's given us that opportunity by starting this company, and I didn't understand that in the beginning.
Joe, thank you for being on the show. Kudos to a successful career. Amazing what you've done, and amazing. And once again, thank you so much, brother.
Great, Lance. Thanks for having me.